Whatever suffers is not a part of me. 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 I have disowned the truth. Now let me be as faithful in disowning falsity. Whatever suffers is not a part of me. Whatever suffers is not a part of me. What grieves is not myself. What is in pain is but illusion in my mind. What dies was never living in reality. What dies was never living in reality, and did but mock the truth about myself, and did but mock the truth about myself. What dies was never living in reality, and did but mock the truth about myself. Now I disown self-concepts and deceits and lies about the holy, holy Son of God. Now am I ready to accept Him back as God created Him and as He is. Whatever suffers is not a part of me. Whatever suffers is not a part of me. Father, my ancient love for you returns. Father, my ancient love for you returns, and lets me love your Son again as well. Father, I am as you created me. Now is your love remembered and my own. Now do I understand that they are one, that they are one. Now is your love remembered and my own. Now do I understand that they are one. Whatever suffers is not a part of me. Whatever suffers is not a part of me. Join me on that. Whatever suffers is not a part of me. 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 Well, thank you for joining me in recognizing that whatever suffers is not part of us. Whatever suffers is not part of me. Well, I'm really thankful that you've come to join me in studying A Course in Miracles. We're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version this year. Lesson 248, Wednesday, September the 4th of 2024. Whatever suffers is not part of me. Wow, can we begin to detach ourselves from the idea that we're going through a world of pain and suffering and realize that that's not even us, that there's a silent witness within us that speaks for God, that knows that it's holy and unchangeable in its love and happiness and peace? Well, and I wanted to mention that, when you come to join me and when you share it with your friends to come join us on this little guide through A Course in Miracles, I try to make it the easy way to master A Course in Miracles. It might take you a few years listening, maybe a year or two. I've been working on it 30 years, and I still don't feel like I've mastered it completely the way that Jesus intends us to master it. But I keep working at it, and every year I make more progress. At some point, I'm going to just shift over from a continuing betterment to a complete knowing. And at times I get little glimpses of it, and so can you. That's what those holy instants are all about, that we want to take morning and evening and all through the day. Every hour of the day, stop and have a holy instant where you give God thanks, ask for directions, tell yourself today, whatever suffers is not part of me. But in the morning and in the evening, before you go to bed and when you first get up, hang out with the idea for a few minutes. Whatever suffers is not part of me. I have disowned the truth. Now let me be as faithful in disowning falsity. Whatever suffers is not part of me. What grieves is not myself. What is pain is but illusion in my mind. What dies was never living in reality and but mock the truth about myself, and did but mock the truth about myself. What dies was never living in reality and did but mock the truth about myself. Now I disown self-concepts and deceit and lies about the Holy Son of God. Now am I ready to accept him back as God created him and as he is. And I just wanted to make sure I had that written down right. Sometimes I write my song down and I miss it, but I got it right. You could say, now, let's see, where did it say? What is in pain is but illusion in my mind. What dies was never living in reality and did but mock the truth about myself. I thought maybe I'd put, and instead of writing did but mock, and does mock or mocks the truth about myself, which all would be correct, but I like to get it verbatim. Okay, and then the prayer says, Father, well, let's go ahead and read that again. Now I disown self-concepts and deceits and lies about the Holy Son of God. Now am I ready to accept him back as God created him and as he is. Father, my ancient love for you returns and lets me love your Son again as well. Your ancient love for God returns, and we begin to see that we can love God by loving our brothers. Matter of fact, that's the only way we really have to love God in this world, is to love our brothers who are one with us and God. Father, I am as you created me. Now is your love remembered and my own. Now do I understand that they are one. Okay, well, let's go look at what is forgiveness, or what is the world, excuse me. Associated reading number 3, back a couple pages. The world is false perception. It is born of error, and it has not left its source. It will remain no longer than the thought that gave it birth is cherished. When the thought of separation has been changed to one of true forgiveness, will the world be seen in quite another light, and one which leads to truth, where all the world must disappear and all its errors vanish. Now its source has gone, and its effects are gone as well. The world was made as an attack on God. It symbolizes fear. And what is fear except love's absence? Thus the world was meant to be a place where God could enter not, and where his Son could be apart from him. Here was perception born, for knowledge could not cause such insane thoughts. But eyes deceive and ears hear falsely. Now mistakes become quite possible, for certainty has gone. The mechanisms of illusion have been born instead, and now they go to find what has been given them to seek. Their aim is to fulfill the purpose which the world was made to witness and make real. They see in its illusions but a solid base where truth exists, upheld apart from lies. Yet everything that they report is but illusion, which is kept apart from truth. As sight was made to lead away from truth, it can be redirected. Sounds become the call for God, and all perception can be given a new purpose by the one whom God appointed Savior to the world. Follow His light and see the world as He beholds it. Hear His voice alone in all that speaks to you, and let Him give you peace and certainty which you have thrown away, but heaven has preserved for you in Him. Let us not rest content until the world has joined our changed perception. Let us not be satisfied until forgiveness has been made complete. And let us not attempt to change our function. We must save the world, for we who made it must behold it through the eyes of Christ, that what was made to die can be restored to everlasting life. Okay, whatever suffers is not part of me. Take that along with you today and tell yourself often, whatever suffers is not part of me. Begin to find your true identity, that part that never suffers, that can't die, that can't be hurt, that can't be, you're not vulnerable in any way. That's why you can love unconditionally towards everyone, because no one holds any power over you. And we're going to learn about power in our reading today. Beyond All Symbols, which is chapter 27, The Healing of the Dream, section 3, Beyond All Symbols. And as you're turning there, let's see what's going on around the world from holidays and observances. Eat an extra dessert day. I guess if you're really hungry, sometimes will have a dessert instead of a meal, because you usually get enough calories. And one time I was trying to figure out how many calories are in a pecan pie, and there was like, I don't know, the pecan pie I was eating had like 1,000 calories. I thought, well, that's half to a third of all the calories I need for the day. Global Talent Acquisition Day. Of course, you don't want to eat a whole lot of sweets, and desserts usually are full of that. Global Talent Acquisition Day. Macadamia Nut Day. It's the genera is Macadamia. There's 3 species. There's the Intoduction, which is the smooth-shelled macadamia. Then there's the rough-shelled, which is the tetraphylla. And then there is also a endangered one, the ginseng. So you've got those 3. Probably wouldn't want to eat the endangered one, but you might want to plant them. That sounds like it'd be a good thing to do. Reverse this extinction of species, which I want to talk about in just a minute. They grow in Australia and Hawaii, anywhere in zone 9 through 11, but they're kind of a tough plant to grow from what I'm understanding. Wildlife Day. Did you know I think I've mentioned this before, but 50% of the species on planet Earth have died since the Industrial Revolution, which is just a second in geological time. So, mankind's causing an impact. But the reason I mentioned that is because that correlation of our gut bacteria, which produce so many things. I've heard that our gut bacteria can have the possibility of making vitamin C, which usually humans don't produce. Maybe we don't produce it anymore because our gut bacteria that made it's gone extinct. And other bacteria in our gut that make other things that, we for our own health, we need to stop this living outside of balance with nature. Work on getting your gut bacteria healthy too. Here on Wildlife Day, that's wildlife. Newspaper Carrier Day, it's almost a thing of the past. I was a paper boy when I was a kid. And Sexual Health Day. Just my teacher used to say any kind of sexual behavior is fine as long as it's with consenting adults. So I would encourage you to take that with you. Okay, Sugargate black muscadines. The Vitus rotundifolia out of Edible Landscaping. And it says of the Sugargate black muscadine, fruit very large, skin dark, flavor excellent, sugar in individual berries up to 21% of the plant is sugar. Fruit ripens earliest of the muscadines, vigorous, productive with large clusters, recommended by Professor John Clark of the University of Arkansas Grape Breeding Program as an excellent grape for the homeowner. Quite a hit at the fall fruit day, at the fruit day, and they have that there at their nursery in Virginia. Of course, this University of Arkansas is just down the road from me. I mean, it's a few miles, but not far into Arkansas. So these Sugargate black muscadines been developed there and recommended. Quite a hit at the fall fruit day. Sugargate is as bud hardy as Mars Seedless grape, native, space 4 by 8 foot trellis, about 6 foot tall. Because Sugargate needs a mate, plant it with another flowering muscadine like Carlos, Isons, and Delicious, zone 6 through 9. So all well in my country. Okay, beyond all symbols, and tell yourself often today, whatever suffers is not part of me. Bring a friend to study along with us, and just have them pick up where we're at, and tell them they don't have to be too involved in doing all the details of, do what they can, but they might want to go back and start with we definitely want to start with lesson 1 and build up when you really give your heart to doing the lessons as he specifies. But just to kind of check out and see what it's all about, have them just join you and listen in. Beyond all symbols, power cannot oppose, for opposition would weaken it, and weakened power is a contradiction in ideas. Weak strength is meaningless, and power used to weaken is employed to limit, and therefore it must be limited and weak, because that is its purpose. Power is unstoppable to be itself. No weakness can intrude on it without changing it into something it is not. To weaken is to limit and impose an opposite that contradicts the concept that it attacks. And by this does it join to the idea a something it is not, and make it unintelligible. And by this does it join to the idea a something it is not, and make it unintelligible. Who can understand a double concept, such as weakened power or hateful love? 2. You have decided that your brother is a symbol for a hateful love, a weakened power, and above all, a living death. And so he has no meaning to you, for he stands for what is meaningless. He represents a double thought, where half is canceled out by the remaining half. Yet even this is quickly contradicted by the half it canceled out. So they both are gone. And now he stands for nothing. Symbols which but represent ideas that cannot be must stand for empty space and nothingness. Yet nothingness and empty space cannot be interference. What can interfere with the awareness of reality is the belief that there is something else. I love that. Paragraph 3. The picture of your brother that you see means nothing. There is nothing to attack or to deny, to love or hate, or to endow with power, or to see as weak. The picture has been wholly canceled out, because it symbolized a contradiction that canceled out the thought it represents, and thus the picture has no cause at all. Who can perceive effect without a cause? What can the causeless be but nothingness? The picture of your brother that you see is wholly absent and has never been. Let then the empty space it occupies be recognized as vacant, and the time devoted to its seeing be perceived as idly spent, and time unoccupied. 4. An empty space that is not seen as filled, an unused interval of time not seen as spent and fully occupied, becomes a silent invitation to the truth to enter and to make itself at home. No preparation can be made that would enhance the invitation's real appeal. For what you leave as vacant, God will fill, and where He is, there must the truth abide. Unweakened power, with no opposite, is what creation is. For this there are no symbols. Nothing points beyond the truth. Nothing points beyond the truth. For what can stand for more than everything? Yet true undoing must be kind. And so the first replacement for your picture is another picture of another kind. 5. As nothingness cannot be pictured, so there is no symbol for totality. Reality is ultimately known without a form, unpictured and unseen. Forgiveness is not yet a power known as wholly free of limits, yet it sets no limits you have chosen to impose. Forgiveness is the means by which the truth is represented temporarily. It lets the Holy Spirit make exchange of pictures possible, until the time when aids are meaningless and learning done. No learning aid has use that can extend beyond the goal of learning. When its aim has been accomplished, it is functionless. Yet in the learning interval, it has use that now you fear, but yet will love. 6. The picture of your brother given you to occupy the space so lately left unoccupied and vacant will not need defense of any kind, for you will give it overwhelming preference, nor delay an instant in deciding that it is the only one you want. It does not stand for double concepts, like living death, though it is but half the picture and is incomplete. Within itself it is the same. The other half of what it represents remains unknown, but is not canceled out, and thus is God left free to take the final step Himself. For this you need no picture and no learning aids, and what will ultimately take the place of every learning aid will merely be. He's basically saying use forgiveness, which is really not going beyond learning, but it brings us to where God takes the final step and brings us home. And you don't have to die to be there. Remember, you'd never die anyway. You're as God created you. And the last paragraph, 7. Forgiveness vanishes and symbols fade, and nothing that the eyes have ever seen or ears have heard remains to be perceived. A power wholly limitless has come, not to destroy, but to receive its own. There is no choice of function anywhere. The choice you fear to lose, you never had. Yet only this appears to interfere with power unlimited and single thoughts, complete and happy, without opposite. You do not know the peace of power that opposes nothing. You do not know the peace of power that opposes nothing. Yet no other kind can be at all. Give welcome to the power beyond forgiveness and beyond the world of symbols and of limitations. He would merely be, and so He merely is. Bring us to where we've always been, the journey without distance. Whatever suffers is not a part of me. 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 I have disowned the truth. I have disowned the truth. Now let me be as faithful disowning falsity. Whatever suffers is not a part of me. Whatever suffers is not a part of me. What grieves is but illusion in my mind. What grieves is not myself. What is pain is but illusion in my mind. What is pain is but illusion in my mind. What grieves is not myself. What is in pain is but illusion in my mind. What dies was never living in reality, and did but mock the truth about myself. Now I disown self-concepts and deceits and lies about the holy, holy Son of God. Now am I ready to accept him back as God created him and as he is. See him in your brother and in you. Now am I ready to accept the Son of God back as God created him and as he is, without suffering. Father, my ancient love for you returns, and lets me love your Son again as well. Father, I am as you created me. Now is your love remembered and my own. Now do I understand that they are one. Now do I understand that they are one. Now is your love remembered and my own. Now do I understand that they are one, that they are one. Whatever suffers is not part of me. Oh, whatever suffers is not a part of me. Whatever suffers is not part of me. Oh, whatever suffers is not part of me. So if you start suffering, just go into the holy instant and say, okay, I must be looking at something that's not me. And have a new perception of yourself be given to you by the Holy Spirit, until eventually you need no perceptions at all, beyond all symbols. And you enter into reality. Whatever suffers is not part of me. And our word for peace is out of the Waganan language, or the Waganan people of Australia, and it's Nyimbur-ma. Nyimbur-ma be with you. Peace be with you. Whatever suffers is not part of me. Nyimbur-ma. Whatever suffers is not part of me. Nyimbur-ma.